ఆశీష్ వస్తాడంట, లేట్ అవుద్దంట.
ఓకే.
నిన్న టెంపరీ యూసేజ్ ఎలా చూడాలో చూసాం. టెంపరీ టేబుల్ స్పేస్ యూసేజ్. We also saw how to check the undo usage. And whenever we are doing update, for example, if you are doing any update, PMP set ename equal to Mohan, where ename equal to Alan. In this case, the user who is performing the update can see the updated rows. Even though the transaction is not committed, the user can see the updated rows. But from the other session, if I'm doing a select, he will get the consistent data, which is related to committed transaction.
Okay.
Next, we did. I turned off the auto extend. I turned off the auto extend on undo table space. And I reduced the size, reduced the max size to be 100 MB. Correct? So now I just change it to 50 MB, not 100 MB. I just changed it to 50 MB. Now, okay. So I have a table called as emp underscore temp, and these are the employees present in the table. So Jones, it's like 1,31,000, and only the Mohan employees with the name Mohan are 39 lakhs. Rest of the employees are 13 lakhs each. Now, if I issue the update emp set ename equal to Siva, where ename equal to Blake. So this will update 1,31,000 rows from Blake to Siva. So the information related, okay, let me change that, updated the, okay, yeah. So I'm updating emp underscore temp from Blake to Siva. So this will use the undo table space to store the consistent information. So the information related to Blake will be stored in undo table space. That also we saw yesterday. Now we'll see how much of undo space has been used by this transaction. So for that, we combine $v transaction with $v session, and we'll get the usage. Okay. Okay. So The session ID 31 is using 21 MB. This kilobytes, so if you remove or if you ignore the last 3 digits, it will be 21 MB. So this transaction is using 21 MB. Okay. Now the blocks in the undo. So undo table space, my undo table space size is 50 MB. Okay. So this 50 MB will be divided into 8 KB blocks. Now each and every block in undo table space will be in 3 states. First state is active, second is expired, third is unexpired. So these are the 3 states in which each and every block in the undo table space be in. So the active blocks are nothing but blocks related to active transaction or blocks related to uncommitted transaction. So if you see the blocks, I mean like the 21 MB of information, this is belong to an uncommitted transaction, correct? So these blocks will be in active state. Next, expired means blocks related to committed transaction, and in the database there is a parameter called as undo underscore retention. So this is a retention, I mean like the retention means the value which we specify, it will be in seconds. So if you see here, the undo retention is 2 seconds. That means once the transaction is committed, after the transaction is committed, it will wait for 2 seconds. After that, it will change the block state to expired. So the expired blocks are nothing but the blocks related to committed transaction and also greater than undo retention period. So after the transaction getting committed, it will wait for two more seconds, so which is specified in undo underscore retention parameter. After that, it will turn into expired state. Okay. So what we have, the blocks related to committed transaction and blocks older than undo retention period. So these blocks are called as expired blocks. The blocks which are related to committed transaction and blocks older than retention period. Now, blocks related to committed transaction and not older than retention period. That means after the transaction getting committed, it will wait for 2 more seconds, right? In that during that period, the blocks will be in unexpired state. ఓకే, అర్థమైందండి డిఫరెన్స్ ఈ మూడిటికి?
Yeah.
Now when there is no space left in undo, if 50 MB, the 50 MB threshold is reached, that means 50 MB threshold is reached, and if new transaction requires additional space in undo, then it cannot overwrite the active blocks. So it cannot override the active blocks because to perform the rollback, active blocks are required. So the blocks which are related to active transaction will never be overwritten. నిన్న చెప్పినప్పుడు I told you wrong. I said once there is no space left in the
Yes.
undo table space, it will be overwritten. That is not correct. If the blocks are active, Oracle will never overwrite the active blocks. As
Okay.
and that is the reason why if you roll back, it will be able to roll back all the transactions you made by copying the content from undo table space to the actual data files. So it will try to overwrite expired blocks. Okay.
Yeah.
If there are no expired blocks, if there are no expired blocks, then
Then
it will overwrite the unexpired blocks. So this is the algorithm Oracle uses in order to reuse the undo table space. Okay.
okay.
Now to check whether the blocks related, what are the blocks related to, how many blocks are assigned for active transaction, how many blocks are active blocks, how many blocks are unexpired, and how many blocks are expired, we will use dba underscore under usage. That view will give us, sorry, db underscore under extends. This view will give us the actual blocks which are active, expired, and unexpired. So this is the query which I will use to get. Okay, so if you see here, oh no, I haven't copied it properly. Okay, so if you see here, the active blocks, the total amount of active blocks constitute 22 MB. That is what the session ID 31 is taking, 21 MB. So those blocks are active blocks, and the expired blocks are 180 MB, and the unexpired blocks are 3 MB. Okay,
Okay.
these are we need to check. We will use dba underscore undo underscore extends to get the status of each and every block in the undo table space. So this status will be in will have three values: active, expired, and unexpired. Now the reason why I'm joining dba underscore undo extends with dba table space, db, I mean like v dollar data file is nothing but db underscore data underscore files. Both the views have the same information. The only difference will be this is a dynamic view. The reason why I'm joining db underscore undo extends with vdol data file is I want to know how much of percentage the active blocks are compared to the total size of the table space. So that is the reason why I joined db undo extends with vdollar data file. Now, if you see here, the expired blocks are 180 MB, but let me check the size of the undo table space. As I already told you, the maximum size of the undo table space was, I set it to 50 MB, correct? How come expired blocks are 180 MB? So I'll show you why it is 180 MB. Okay, so if you see here, I have two table spaces, undo tbs1 and undo tbs2. Undo tbs2 max size is set to 50 MB. I mean like the total size of the undo table space itself is 50 MB, and the auto extend is turned off. So that is the reason why the max bytes is 0. For undo tbs1, auto extend is on, but I set the max size to 160 MB. Okay. Now, if I want to see which undo table space is in use, I have to go for show parameter undo underscore table space or undo. So if you see here, the active undo table space which is being used is undo tbs2. So that means my maximum size of the undo table space is 50 MB because this is the active one. Okay. But why the expired blocks are 180 MB? The reason for that is it will also count undo tbs1. So what we have to do in the query, we should only get the information related to undo TBS2. I'm filtering the data. It took both the undo table spaces, but the I want to get the information only about active undo table space. I don't want the information about the other undo table space because it is not being used anyway. So now, after filtering that, you can see the active blocks are 22 MB, the expired blocks are 23 MB, and the unexpired blocks are 1 MB. Okay, so this is how you need to get the amount of active blocks, expired blocks, and unexpired blocks. Now, if I want to update another set of rows, update emp underscore temp set ename equal to Ashish, where ename equal to Mohan. You should see the count of a number of employees with the name Mohan. There are 39 lakh employees. So definitely it requires 3 times the 22 MB, because to update 1 lakh 31 rows, 22 MB was used. Now if I want to update, sorry, 13 lakhs or 1 lakh 30 something. So if I want to update 39 lakh rows, I require 3 times, which is 66 MB. So now we will see whether it can overwrite this 22 MB or not, because it requires additional space. So what it can do is, like, it can use expired space. After that it can use unexpired space. But this 24 MB is not sufficient to update the transaction. It requires additional 40 MB. So that means it will try to override the active blocks, but we have to check whether the active blocks will be overwritten or not. So we'll see it now. Okay, still it's showing 21 MB. Let me issue the submit statement. If you see here, it will grow because there are expired blocks which can be used. So it will go till 43 or 44 MB and then it will error out. So it went to 43 MB, 45, 39. So it's coming back again. It is releasing the it. Now this command knows there is no sufficient space in the undo table space. Even though it is trying to use expired and unexpired, that space is not sufficient to perform the update. And that is the reason why it will error out saying unable to extend segment by 8 in undo table space. So when you will get this error, if there is no additional, if there is no sufficient space to perform the DML statement, if there are no sufficient expired and unexpired blocks in undo table space to perform a DML statement, then you will get this error saying unable to extend segment by 8 in undo table space. Okay.
Okay.
సో ఒకటే తప్పు ఏంటంటే నిన్న మొత్తం యాక్టివ్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ది కూడా ఓవర్ రైట్ చేస్తుందని చెప్పాను, అది తప్పు. జస్ట్ ఓన్లీ ఇట్ విల్ ఓవర్ రైట్ ఎక్స్పైర్డ్ అండ్ అన్ఎక్స్పైర్డ్ బ్లాక్స్. ఈవెన్ దిస్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఎర్రర్ అవుట్, it will show this session is still using 21 MB because this 21 MB is related to the before DML statement.
Yeah.
Now, if I issue the commit statement, almost all the blocks will be in expired, unexpired state, correct? Okay, we'll see. Okay. Now if you see here, all the blocks are unexpired. They're not expired yet. So it will wait till undo retention period. After that, the blocks will be turned into expired. Okay. Now, the 2 seconds which I told you is not correct. It actually, Oracle will automatically increase the undo retention period. That I will show you by end of the class. But
Okay.
This unexpired blocks will be turned into expired once it reaches the undo retention period. You need to make sure, you need to understand that point. That's it. Now, what is the problem in overwriting the unexpired blocks? So I'll show you what is the problem in overwriting the unexpired blocks now. Before doing that, okay, I want to issue this statement, okay? Update EMP, set ename equal to Ashish, where ename equal to Mohan. At the same time, I want to issue select star from EMP and scott.emp underscore temp. This command will take some time, probably 5 minutes, to retrieve all the rows from the emp underscore temp table. Okay. In the meanwhile, I'm updating the emp underscore temp table. So in this case, what will happen? It will use the undo table space to get the information about read consistent data. So whatever the information about the employee Mohan, it will try to get it from undo table space. Correct? Correct kada?
Yeah.
Okay. It errored out because there is no sufficient space in undo table space. We already know it requires 90 MB and the total space allocated for undo table space is 50 MB. Okay. Leave undo underscore emp underscore temp. Set ename equal to Ashish, where ename equal to Jones. So this will succeed. It requires 21 MB of data. Okay. Now I'll again issue the same statement. I will change Ashish to Jones and Jones to Ashish. Okay. It updated the rows. Now again I want to update Jones to Ashish again. Oh,
I mean, update with Ashish.
yeah. Hmm? Okay, Ashish ఉంది కదా. So the first transaction required 20 MB, the second required 20 MB, the third required 20 MB. Now I'll issue this statement again. I want to update Jones to Ashish again. See the count, see the number of times I'm doing the update. Oh, okay. Let me issue the commit. I'll issue the update statement again. Okay. See what happened here? When I was selecting the information from emp underscore temp, it said snapshot to old error because the reason, see here what happened. First, there is 50 MB of free space left in undo table space, okay? 50 MB of undo table space is free. ఎందుకంటే నేను ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ కమిట్ చేసేసాను. సో ద 50
Yeah.
MB is free. It can use the whole 50 MB. When I issued the update this statement, it used 22 MB of under table space. And at that moment of time, the blocks are in active state. After that, I should again another update statement. Even this required 22 MB of space. Now, even this 22 MB will be in active state. That means the total 44 MB is in active state. After that, again, I want to issue the update statement, and this requires additional 22 MB, which I cannot get it from undo table space. So that is the reason why I should commit, such that the blocks will be in unexpired state and it can use for another DML statement. Okay. At this moment of time, I should commit. As a result, 44 MB will be in unexpired state. After that, I should update statement, and as a result, it will overwrite the 44 MB blocks. Or say in this 44 MB, it will update 22 MB of blocks. It will overwrite. Correct or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was performing the update in another session, I also issued select star from emp underscore temp. As there was an update statement which was performed, as a result, when I issued this select star from emp underscore temp, it needs to get the blocks from undo table space to provide the read consistency. Correct? And this query is running.
Then it's the 44 MB, right?
Yeah. So this query is still running. And at this moment of time, the 22 MB of undo content was overwritten. Now this query cannot get rest of the information from undo table space because it is been overwritten. Correct or not?
Yes.
As a result, you will get snapshot to old error.
Okay.
So what is snapshot to old error? Whenever Oracle is trying to allocate unexpired blocks for DML statement, and if there is any long running query at the same time fetching the information from those undo blocks, that statement will fail with snapshot to old error. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a problem of overwriting the unexpired blocks. The user cannot fetch the read consistent data. He again needs to execute the same statement again in order to get the actual data. This time it may fetch from data files because
Yes.
the read consistent data will be present in the data files itself, and he will avoid that. So what should be done in order to avoid this kind of problems? So what should be done to avoid snapshot to old error? Can you guess what can be done to avoid the snapshot to old error? If the blocks were not unexpired, then we can avoid snapshot to old error. Correct or not? If the blocks are not unexpired, that means if the blocks are active, then that content will not be overwritten. As a result, you will not get the snapshot to old error. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what should be done to make the blocks active all the time? There should not be frequent commits. Okay. So frequent commits should be avoided in order to overcome the snapshot to old error. Because if you're not committing, the blocks will be in active state. As a result, Oracle will not override the undo content. Okay?
Okay.
And also there is a concept called as retention guarantee. This will make sure the blocks will not be overwritten. So if you say retention guarantee to 10 minutes, then the blocks which are unexpired and which are unexpired from for less than 10 minutes, those blocks will not be overwritten by Oracle. So using retention guarantee also, you can avoid snapshot to old errors. Or else make sure you have sufficient undo table space, sufficient space in undo table space. If there is sufficient space in undo table space, it will not try to override the unexpired blocks, correct? If if the free blocks are already existing, then it will not try to override the unexpired blocks. Okay? So ఈ కేసు నేను చెప్పింది ఏంటంటే 50 MB రీచ్ అయినప్పుడే, if the table space size is 100 MB, in that case 50 MB is only used. It will not try to use unexpired, it will not try to use expired. It will go for free blocks. So by these three ways you can avoid snapshot to old error.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this undo retention is auto tuned actually. So if I do show parameter undo, it says the undo retention is 2 seconds, right? But it is not actually 2 seconds. Automatically Oracle will tune the undo retention period. Even though the parameter shows as 2 seconds, it is not the actual value. So to get the actual value of undo retention, 1 minute, let me get the query. Hello? Are you able to see?
Yeah, Mohan.
Okay. So using VDOL undo stat, you can get the actual undo retention period. Even though you set undo retention to a value, that will be only the minimal value. Automatically Oracle will tune the undo retention parameter. So if you see here, the current undo retention period is of 463 seconds or 336 seconds. I'm not sure. We need to change the date format. I want to display the date format including the hours, minutes and seconds. So what should I do now? It is only displaying the day. I want to see the time also. Alter session set NLS underscore date underscore format. I guess I showed it to you already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you see here, at 8:52, the undo retention period is 505 seconds. So that means it is close to 10 minutes. Yeah. So it is close to 10 minutes, 8.4 minutes. So till 8.4 minutes, the blocks will be in unexpired state. After 8.2 minutes, the blocks will go into the expired state. Okay. Is it clear? This is the way you have to get the undo retention period. Now, if you
Yeah.
want to go for undo retention, I will give it to you as an assignment. Try to see how to guarantee the retention period. This will only suggest, Oracle will only suggest the blocks should not be overwritten until this minute, but it doesn't guarantee. If you want to guarantee that the unexpired blocks will not be overwritten, you have to use undo retention guarantee. Okay. Try to find out how to get how to perform the retention guarantee. Is it clear?
Yeah. How to
So
perform the
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how we need to manage the undo table space and temporary table space. Done.
Okay.
ఆశీష్ రాలేదు కదా. I'll wind up the class and I'll upload the video.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Saturday morning కదా 11.
లేదు, ఫ్రైడే రోజు క్లాస్ తీసుకుంటాను 8 o'clock.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
యా. ఓకే అండి.
సరే.
యా.
Thanks.
బాయ్.